Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Continuing on with this class of practical fiqh in the Quran. And somebody hit me up about practical and told me I should define it for the people and why I use that term. So for the real definition for practical, right, is basically actions, solutions, objects that's focused on effectiveness, right, and a functional way to do things and real world applications other than theory, right? So that's what we're dealing with. A real world application, a functional way to deal with the fiqh that's in the Quran and the way that you should be able to extract it. As opposed to, like I said, some of us just read the Quran the way people read the Bible instead of pulling out the rulings and different things like that. So this is some of the ways, man, that kind of teach everybody to be able to tap into that once you start reading, right? So we left off with 2 business transactions and financial dealings, and we used the examples of loan or giving or getting a loan, right? So we started with 3: family law, dealing with family, and relationships, right? Just dealing with people in general, Muslims, non-Muslims, right? But we're going to choose the section of marriage, right? Marriage, divorce. So keep in mind, all these, even with the fasting, all this is law. This is Sharia law. This is what can be done, what's supposed to be done, what can't be done, right? So the same with law. So all this is dealing with law, Sharia law, the Islamic jurisprudence, right? Fiqh. How to understand the complete comprehension of Sharia law, the laws that Allah set forth for us to obey. So with family law, we're going to start with, keep in mind, everything is coming from Surah Al-Baqarah, right? 1 chapter, just to show you how much fiqh is in Surah Al-Baqarah. Because what we turned on, we got some ibadah, right? Again, your 5 categories of fiqh or rulings, okay? Not what they fall under, not what category they fall under, your actions, which either is haram, either it's mubah, either it's mustahab, right? Etc. So just in Surah Al-Baqarah, we got the ibadah, which is the first thing in fiqh. We got the business transaction, financial dealings, and now we're going to family law, right? So when you go to ayat number 221, okay, let's look at some of the laws. So we're going to start with a little bit of marriage. So 1, just 221, do not marry polytheistic women until they believe. For a believing slave woman is better than a free polytheist, right? Than a free polytheist, even though she may look pleasant to you. Okay. Now, we're going to pause on that one and we're finna explore this, right? Because I want to pull up polytheistic, because some people think this just means she doesn't believe in Jesus, and that makes her fine, right? When a woman is polytheistic, right, basically they have multiple beliefs, right? They have multiple beliefs, even as in certain deities. So let me bring it up. Let me bring it up to speed. So they have beliefs in multiple deities, gods, goddesses, right? It's more than just Jesus. So let me show you where we fall short. So a brother, he marries a sister, right? She's non-Muslim. So we're going to put marry a non-Muslim. And this is something that I see in real time. I know Muslim brothers that's married to sisters like this. So he made sure she doesn't believe Jesus is God. Now, what's the law in the Quran? Don't marry any polytheistic women. Women with multiple beliefs. And then they say that the Muslim sisters can't marry a polytheistic man. So, he feel like he got this box checked. Right? But she believes in the ancestors. The ancestors is watching over us. Right? I can feel the spirit of the ancestors and all these different things. The ancestors would be proud of us. They believe in the ancestors. Okay? This makes her polytheistic because she also believed that there's a creator. She may not say Allah. She may even say Jehovah. She might even feel like she's some type of Hebrew Israelite or something. So she may say Yahweh or some of the things that they say. But at the same time, she believes in the ancestors. She may also have what they call African spirituality. So she may do stuff like burn sage. Burn sage in the house to get rid of demons and evil spirits, and doing this little form of conjuring, which I'm not going to put it under the cloak of voodoo, but this is some of the African spirituality. They believing in this over than the du'as or Suratul Baqarah, right? So they have what they call the African spirituality, where they doing different things, burning sage, going through the house, chanting, saying this and that. They may also believe, we're gonna, instead of saying relatives, we're gonna say loved ones, because it might also be a close friend that they grew up with, a co-worker that really became a very close, dear, intimate friend. So loved ones who passed away is looking over them. Right? So they also believe that loved ones who passed away is looking over them. I know you in the heavens watching over me. You know, they may get a job and say that this child that died or this relative or a loved one, I know you got me that job because I know you was watching over me. This is a person that's polytheistic. Okay? This is a polytheist. And I know brothers who's married to women that's like this. But they don't say Jesus is God. So they feel like they checked all boxes. But when you look at the Sharia and when you understand Fiqh, when you have a complete comprehension, even if you had to just read it in English, this is a no-no. This is a no-no. Then they may also have a little bit of beliefs, right? Now when I say beliefs, This isn't the original belief. This is some of the man-made stuff from this and that. So they may have some beliefs, some of, we're going to say fake. They may have beliefs from fake Christianity, right? They may have some of the fake beliefs from Buddhism, or whatever they call it, Buddhism. Then they may have some of the fake Nation of Islam belief mixed in. And then they may have some fake Hebrew Israelite beliefs. You know, some fake Moorish American belief. So not only do these things, they don't realize these things have become a deity, right? But not only do they have some fake mixed up deity belief, they also have some messed up Aqidah. Because they believe some of the fake stuff from Christianity, whatever floats their boat at the time, they have it. You know, this African spirituality, you know, just a whole plethora of foolishness mixed up in a belief system, right? So we need to know when it comes to all of this. And unfortunately, you have some women who believe that Islam is the truth. Men also. But some sisters, right now we're dealing with the women because this is what the ayat says, right? Don't marry these type of women. They may take their shahada, right? They believe Islam is the truth. So they may be Muslim. And I'm telling you, I know women, I know brothers married to sisters like this. Okay, yeah, I believe in Allah. But she still believes in the ancestors too. Right? She still believes in forms of spirituality. She may still believe stuff from fake 5% the nation, or what they call them, the nation of gods and earths. Okay? So this is being polytheistic. And they have certain things in they belief system that contradicts and go in their Aqidah. When I say Aqidah, that's what I'm saying, belief system. It's things that contradict Islam. Okay? So you even see this, and I'm going to tell y'all something funny. I myself, Sunnah, used to be like this. I didn't believe in the ancestors, but when I came through the Deen of Islam the way that I did, through a gang version of it, where I accepted real Islam, walked away, became a gang version, and it brought the Islam back to me, but then I ended up becoming a 5%er. I ended up studying the more science. I ended up becoming a 5%er. And then I had a mixture of all these beliefs mixed in with some of the stuff that I thought was Christianity that had been instilled in me as a kid. So I had a multiple belief system. Yeah. Even some of the stuff that like the Nation of Islam say, not like some of the common sense stuff that may be along with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the Nation of Islam, you can get you some core values to be an upright, outstanding citizen in America. You know, keep yourself clean, dress appropriately, get your diction up. We're not talking about that. Some of the stuff that they believe, like the status that they give Elijah Muhammad or Fard Muhammad or the black man is God and some of those things, you see certain people take on those characteristics and beliefs. You see? So That's what it's saying. You're not supposed to marry a woman that's polytheistic. And as it go on, it also say don't allow Muslim women to marry men. That's also polytheistic. And their deity, where they believe in the ancestors and the loved ones that's passed away is watching over them, or like they're a guardian angel and all this type of stuff that Allah does for us. That's in deity. But then they have a mixture of all type of different beliefs. They just have a messed up Aqidah. So their belief system is different. And all of this stuff distracts them from real Islam. And then they are pulled from whatever belief system that they want to have based off of how they want to live. See? Like Islam say, we can't do this and do this. And then they say, oh, well, we could pull from Christianity. We could pull from the Hebrew Israelites. We can pull from African spirituality. You see? And it just violates what Allah is telling us to do. So let's continue on with the ayat. Right? So like it say, for a believing slave woman is better than a free polytheistic, even though she may look pleasant to you. Now, because we're trying to make it practical, we don't really have slaves or the way that they had them. And I want to be careful because in America, we have a trauma from slavery. So when it refers to slave or something during that time, we equate it to what Black Americans went through in America. And it wasn't like that. It was more of a servant type of a thing, right? So, in this day and time, you might see a beautiful sister. She look good to you, but she's a polytheist. She has polytheistic views. But then you may see a Muslim sister who might not look better than her. And she might not have it going on. She might not have the good job and some of the things that men can get attracted to. But she's a believing Muslim sister. So what Allah is telling us, that sister is better. Although this other sister may be pleasing to you, to your eyes. Okay? She might be pleasing to your eyes. But this other sister is better for your deen. Keep in mind, this is practical fiqh. This is law. It's better for you. Now, if you choose to marry her, then you're going to open up the door for what's going to come with it. You see? Same with some of these sisters who start to marry non-Muslim men or get them to jump in the threshold and take their shahada, and that's just a lip service Muslim. But then they're going to have to open up the door with all that comes with it because they're not cleaning up some of these beliefs. Like I had some of the gang beliefs mixed in. You know, people who just have a messed up Aqidah. So when these sisters be choosing these individuals solely for financial gain, in the end, you know, just like with the brother who choose these women, you're going to lose something because you opening up the door to where Allah can allow anything to happen to you. And I know, like I say in my videos, I know it's tough because we come from an over-sexualized society. Okay? We come from a society where it's not normal to see an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old with a baby. It's normal. It's not rare. It's nothing to see a 13-year-old, 14-year-old with a 1-year-old, 2-year-old kid. You see? It's in this society, it's nothing to see a 8-year-old girl, a 9-year-old girl, and she probably done had sex with 4 or 5 people already. And unfortunately, they might be 16, 17. May have had sex with another girl already. You may have young boys, 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, and they done had sex with boys already. This is normal for us. So when you come from that, and you've been having sex since you've been 11, 12, 13, 14, and now you 27 and you accept Islam, you know what I'm saying? You in your early 20s, and now you have to accept this system of Islam, and it could be difficult. You know what I'm saying? Desires can be crazy when you already had that lifestyle, and then the deen hasn't got in you correctly yet. You don't have the full comprehension of Islam, so you still swaying back and forth, and then you may have multiple beliefs, and you feel like it's justified, like some of the people here. Oh, well, Allah sent down Christianity, so when it comes to their choices, I can pull this from Christianity. But how you know that's real Christianity? That's just something Christians do. Like happy birthdays and some of these things we just can't let go, and we don't care what Allah got to say about it. You see? How do you know that's real Christianity? That's just something that Christians do. You see? So it be difficult, man, and I sympathize with the Muslims, man, because it'd be a difficult situation. And I will say 90% of the marriages that I'm aware of, very few marriages start off a particular way. But people have to understand fiqh, where fiqh break down, and I'm going to be careful because a lot of people don't understand this, but I don't want to give somebody something to where they start to corrupt things. But when it comes to fiqh, sometimes one of the main things in fiqh is you consider the society that the people grow up in and the ways and the actions that they come up with. That's why, like right now, you have, at one point in time, you had scholars who was against Muslim dating sites. Now, they may say, in Saudi Arabia or in this Muslim country, no to the dating sites. Because system is in place for people to meet the right way and to come up under the thing. But in areas like America, where the Islamic system never got established, and then there's a little corruption things that came through because you have all of these different groups, from the foreigner groups, from the African American groups that came in and just bring in, and I ain't gonna name no groups from the foreigners or from the African American groups, who just brought in different belief systems. So the real system of Islam never really got set. So you have scholars who approve it, but they warn the people, still be careful. Don't misuse that. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people, it's even rare for people to meet people in their own city that's Muslims. So a lot of things have to be taken into account when people start moving the way that they move, but they almost don't have any choice. It's either, and I'm trying to be careful. Like the hadith with a Rasul, when it was like, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and I'm paraphrasing it, and I'll probably pull it up and discuss it at a later time, but you know, I got time restraints. But it was basically like, what do you do when you in a position where you have to choose between two wrongs? And the Rasul just choose the lesser one and seek forgiveness from Allah. There's Tawbah. But you in a situation where you almost forced to do things a certain way. Just like, for instance, like it says in the Quran, I'm trying to be careful. If you in a situation where you have to eat pork, eat the pork, but don't exceed the limits. Sometimes we in situations where things go a certain type of way just to get to a certain way, but don't exceed the limits. And a lot of people not going to discuss this or won't talk about it in a certain way because they feel like they're going to corrupt the people. The people are already corrupt. So at least give them a little bit of something to come up out of the corruption because they don't know it. Instead of just trying to be over rhetoric and talk about the fiqh of Imam such and such and this and that, and it's still just like the basic general Aqidah, how he believed in the angels and how this one from the Salaf did this and how this did this. Talk about some of the ways where, with these marriages and things, but we just need it, man. Us urbans, we need it bad, bro. I'm serious. Because we getting stuck in sin, or we may do things the right way, but we don't know it's the right way, so we not comfortable with it because we don't have real fiqh of the deen. Or it's vice versa. We doing it 100% wrong, but the fiqh that we giving ourselves, now we comfortable with it because we feel like this is a comfortable way. Why? Because we pulled this from Christianity. We pulled this from American society. For instance, like people who do these different type of marriages and this and that Allah didn't come up with, but I ain't gonna go into that. So let's finish with this right here. So even if she pleases you, she's pleasant to you in all areas, the way she look, the way she carry herself, and she might just have it going on. But this sister who may not have any of that, but she's Muslim, but she's really a believing Muslim, or she believes better than this one with all these polytheistic views, that's the better choice for you, brother. Right? And it says, do not marry your women to polytheistic men until those men believe. Okay? So when it comes to belief, since we're doing a comprehension, let's come through with this right here. Let's add this on here, so it can really sink into the hearts of the people. You got people who half Muslim, half Rastafarian. They're half Muslim, half Rastafarian, part 5%er with African spirituality. This is being polytheistic. So believe correctly. Until they believe correctly. Not just, I believe Islam is the truth, I took Shahada and this and that. And then they just keep all this polytheistic Aqidah. Of course, there's going to be certain things that's going to take time to weigh out. But both of these things are harmful. So as it continues to say, so it's the same thing. A believing man, whether he be a slave, whether he be poor, whether he don't have it going on, like this other one, he's a polytheistic person, but he's pleasant to you. You like his money, right? You may not like nothing but his money and what he could do. You might not be attracted to him or nothing. For the brothers and the sister. But that believing man who may not have it going on per se, or may not have the best looks, that's the better choice for you. Same thing for the brothers and sisters, right? So even though they may look pleasant to you, it's better to go with this other brother, right? Because look what it says. And what's the fiqh behind it? Allah Azza wa Jal says, because they invite you to the hellfire. These sisters with these polytheistic views, they invite you to the hellfire, brother. For you brothers, these sisters, these brothers with these polytheistic views, whether they paying your bills and getting your cell phones and all this little weird stuff, right? They only inviting you to the hellfire. And it may not make no sense to you, but when you have a better understanding of the deen, you'll understand it. Because I have yet to see one of these brothers or one of these sisters not lose a lot of their deen, if most of it. But then the sad part is, let's say for instance, this situation lasts 4 years. You had somewhat of your deen day one, for the brother or for the sister. People going into this situation. So you got some deen. Your deen is about, we'll put it on percentages. We'll say 40%. 40% of your deen is intact. Right? 40% of your deen is intact on day one. So we're going to say day one. By year, going into year 2, you might have 20% of your deen intact. Right? Now, year 3, you might be down to 10%. But you may have picked up other things. You might, in year 2, you might go back to drinking. Now that you're drinking a little bit, then you might add in smoking. Okay? You might add in smoking. Now that you're drinking and you're smoking, then y'all might add in anal sex. Okay? Just different things that people start to fall into. So then now by year 4, you probably got, the only thing in your deen that's really left is you still believe. By year 4, you still believe. But them people ain't changed a bit. They may not still took their shahada. They may have took their shahada but never entered into the fold of Islam. So now your deen went from 40% to now you just still believe in Islam. You might pray occasionally. It's 12 months in a year. You might not pray 12 times a year. This is the dynamic that I see that happen to these individuals. And then, but instead, if they married a person who really believed and they still serious, in those 4 years, instead of your deen going from 40% to you still believe, now your deen might go up to 70% being intact when you with the right person. So this is ways how a person can get pulled back into the hellfire. I know a Muslim sister who took her shahada, read the whole Quran, used to study, was actually fairly pretty decent, right? Then she couldn't get a Muslim guy, so she started dealing with a kafir, and then to be pleasing to him, she went back to eating swine, right? And because, periodically they would talk to me, right? And they was telling me how he made a lasagna with sausage in it or something. I've never seen a lasagna with sausage in it, and it had the pork in it, but she ate the lasagna with the pork in it, and it made her sick. So now Shaitan whispers in her head, well, you only getting sick because you ain't used to it. So just keep eating a little bit of pork, and then you'll get used to it again. So she literally started eating a little bit of bacon. Okay? She started eating a little bacon here, eating a little ham there, because she's trying to get her body back used to eating pork. Because this dude that she wants to be with is a swine eater. So when he cooks swine, pork chops and stuff, she could sit down and eat with him. So once she adjusted her body back to eating swine, he left her alone. So now she's a swine eater and then lost a whole bunch of her deen. Went back and became an alcoholic. Not to point out their faults, but Allah Azza wa Jal make it clear for us in the Quran. And this stuff is clear. We even dealing with just the English. So these individuals who a Quran only Muslim, we don't need no hadiths, we don't need none of this, but they still fall into all of this. And then some of the worst part that actually happened to them, their Quran becomes decor. It's a decoration. You see what I'm saying? They don't really read it. They don't even get into it. They start to become lackluster when it comes to it. You understand? So this is the danger of these things, and Allah has given us these jewels. Allah has given us these jewels in the Quran, and you, like I say, the English translations, they do, some pretty good justice when it comes to talking about this stuff. But sometimes it takes knowledge to know knowledge, and everybody don't know how to look at it and apply these examples. And then you may be surrounded by Muslims that already had this characteristic. So now what does that mean? Since everybody in the wrong, can't nobody say nothing, so let's all just keep continuing to be wrong. And so now what we done? We've made it acceptable. It's cool. It's cool to be this type of Muslim. You do you and I do me. Okay? But is that going to be an excuse that's going to work with Allah Azza wa Jal? What's our main core principle when you see an evil? When you see an evil being done, even if it's you and you have to be involved in it, you have to try to change it with your hands, i.e. do something about it. And if you can't do nothing about it, then what you have to do? At least speak out against it. Say something. And then if you can't do nothing by saying something or speaking out against it or warning other people not to fall into it, you have to at least hate it in your heart. So when you falling into it, instead of hating it in our heart, we start to convince ourselves to love it by justifying what we doing. Now it's a difference if you fall into this and you go through it for a little bit, but you see transitioning out of it at the end of the road. That's a different story. And you seeking Tawbah and you asking Allah to work with you because you feel like this is the only choice that you have, as opposed to it becoming your lifestyle and now it's your everyday life for years. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. And it's right here in our Quran. So like it say, they invite you to the fire, but Allah invites you to paradise and forgiveness by His grace. And Allah Azza wa Jal makes His revelations clear to the people so that perhaps they will become mindful. Okay? To where so that they can have this reminder, they can remember this, they can have that taqwa of Allah. Okay? So when you come into, we gonna leave off on that one, and then we gonna, because for the time constraints, we gonna go ahead and just get into number 4, criminal law, right? So we're gonna go to, I think it's 178. Let's go to ayah number 178. So again, let me mark that right here, because my guy didn't be taking note. So that right there was just a little bit on the foundation. Listen to this. Put foundation, because my dude didn't be taking notes, right? Foundation of marriage. The foundation of marriage, what can you extract from what we just read? Look at this. No matter, let's write this with a big marker. So this is fiqh. Let me give y'all fiqh of this, right? No matter how pleasing the wrong person looks or appears to be, right? No matter how pleasing the wrong person look or how pleasing they appear to be to you, marrying them will bring more harm than good. That's what that Quran ayat tell you right there. Marrying the type of people that Allah Azza wa Jal say don't marry, and don't be on a surface level. Oh, well, they just don't believe Jesus is God. Okay, cool, but they believe in the ancestors. Okay, they believe some of what the Rastafarians believe. Oh, they kind of believe that this stuff that Farrakhan just said about the black man, this and this and that, they believe that stuff. And they live their life in accordance with these type of things. Marrying these type of people, no matter how pleasing they look to you, or how pleasing they appear to be, whether it's financial, she got a nice car, she got a nice house, she got a good job, she may have her own business, right? She may be all natural. Okay. It's going to be some hardship, brother. He may have money, he may have car. He'll never tell you no for anything you ask him, no matter how ridiculous the request is. Okay? He'll make the perfect court jester. It's going to be more harm than good. Because doing what Allah tell you to do, what Allah calls us to, leads to paradise, it leads to Jannah, it leads to Allah forgiving you. Okay? This situation that you choose when Allah say not to, and you justify it, at what point are you going to sit down and start asking Allah to forgive you? When is you going to be seeking Tawbah for marrying this type of sister? When you going to seek Tawbah for marrying this type of brother? You're not even going to ask Allah to forgive you for that. You understand? But then when people be in these type of situations, it's like, man, I feel like Allah putting a belt on me. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he, brother? Why Allah wouldn't put that belt on you? You definitely in a belt getting put on you situation. When you had a type of Muslim that may not appear to be as pleasing because she didn't have it going on, or she wasn't as cute as this other one, but you had that option. See, it's a different story, like if you don't have these type of options or this type of stuff going on, but sometimes people have options, man. And they choose what they think is better for their desires. When Allah say don't do that, man. When Allah say don't do that. Okay? So, that's what that verse is telling you, man. Marrying the wrong person for the wrong reasons. So when you look at the hadith that goes with it, where it's the same for the man, but men generally during those times married women for 4 reasons. They status, y'all know the hadiths, you know what I'm saying? They looks, they wealth, lineage and these different things, they bloodline and all this different type of stuff, right? But what the Rasul said, status and lineage go together. You know what I'm saying? They deen, they lineage, they looks, or they wealth. Okay? They status and lineage. Who they are, who they related to, who they are in society. Right? But the one who marry a woman for other than her deen is like they might as well rub their hands in dust. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to ruin yourself. You're going to fall into ruin. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying this in His Quran ayat. So choose a deen. Not trying to placate and twist this up and put it into a ball and say, okay, well, she don't believe in God. and she's willing to take her. I mean, she don't believe in she don't believe Jesus is God, and she's willing to take her shahada, or it make it safe for me to be with her as a non-Muslim woman. So I don't care what her deen is like. She's non-Muslim, but she don't believe Jesus is God, so she's not an idolater. She's cool for me. Yet she believe in the ancestors. Yet she believe her little cousin that passed away is watching over her from heaven. And the same vice versa for the brothers. She's still a polytheist. Okay? A polytheist, and so we just got to get it together, man. So coming into 178, right? Okay? Where it refers to the laws of retaliation. Criminal law. O believers, the law of retaliation is set for you in cases of murder. A free man for a free man. A slave for a slave, and a female for a female. But if the offender is pardoned by the victim's guardian, then blood money should be decided, but it should be decided fairly, and payment should be made courteously. They shouldn't have to come and be like, hey, where that bread at? Oh, I'll pay you when I feel like it. I ain't got it right now. With a person who, when somebody owe you money and they spending money in front of you, and then they get an attitude because you asked them for their money back. Hey man, what them couple of dollars you owe me? Man, come on, man. Why you always bothering me? Like, come on, man. We doing something, but they got the money to give to you. So not that way. It should be done courteously, right? And this is a concession and a mercy from your Lord. But whoever transgresses after this will suffer a painful punishment. So this can break down to a whole lot of stuff, just like in Fiqh, where they have every body parts and stuff broke down to a particular compensation. Let's say you playing with a person, right? And you smack them, or you go upside their head or something, or you hit them with something and you knock their tooth out. There's a compensation for that. Or you knock their teeth out. There's a compensation for that. You playing with somebody and you throw them down, or y'all get into a little altercation and you may break their finger. There's a compensation for the breaking of that finger. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying that because some Muslims in households, some Muslims who friends and this and that, they may come to blows. Some Muslim woman may get mad at her husband and hit him with something. He may hit her or do something and do some things like that, and may throw her down and break her finger or something. There's a compensation all the way down to a finger. You see what I'm saying? So it's being just with anything. So let's say, for instance, you have a woman who a Muslim woman get mad at her Muslim husband, and she tears his car up. What's the laws of retaliation? You gotta fix that. You gotta handle that. You see what I'm saying? No, not I got mad. No, this, and this. You gotta keep things just. Or sisters get mad and tear up a brother PlayStation. You got to replace that. You got to fix that. Same with the brother. Brother get mad and want to tear up the sister vanity mirror or something. Something weird. Break a table or something in the house. But see, the thing is, men generally, is just from the rule of society, you supposed to do that. But when the sister do it, oh brother, you just got to take that L because I'm the woman and you the man. But in Islam, nope. It don't go that way. So we have to be careful, man, when it comes to these type of things, and have an understanding, man, of Daki. Have a better understanding, man, when we dealing with each other. If you tear up somebody's book, you got to fix that. Even if it's your child. Like I remember a person who ran over their child's bike and felt like they wasn't supposed to do anything about it because they the parent. I ain't need to fix that bike. I don't need to replace that bike. It shouldn't have never been in my way. No. You got to make that right as a Muslim. Daki. As a matter of fact, we're gonna end here, and then we'll continue with. There's a little bit more about some of this where I wanted to speak on about the laws of inheritance, because that's something that us Muslims should know and what the Quran say about it. But we're gonna get back to this, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.